And for me, this was quite an easy one because I was quite excited for them this season. I think change of management, all seem to be pushing in the right direction. Signings on the pitch, but a very underachieving season so far for Norwich City.
Yeah, I think we spoke about Norwich in our prediction at the start of the season, and we said it all hinges on how well Manning can come in and really sort of rejuvenate the side, because obviously they had a disappointing season under Forrest last year. They have still spent money, which they're a club that do spend money. They're not, I think, squad value-wise, they're right up there in the sort of top of the division. They have managed to keep hold of Sargent as well, who you can definitely argue is one of the best, if not the best striker in the division.
But I think since they confirmed they were going to keep him, they've just dropped out of form and he's tailed off.
Yeah, so, but I look at Norwich and I think, yeah, they've changed. Thing with Norwich is they do change things up quite regularly. They tend to, players rotate. They maybe have a couple of years and then they go off somewhere else. But they brought in quality players, and the only danger we talked about as well, though, was players from foreign divisions that you're not quite sure whether they're going to be able to play in the Championship or be at that level they need to be. They lost Signs and they've lost some key players, obviously, in the summer. Manning was the big question mark. It was, okay, he's done a good job at Bristol, but can he go into Norwich under the pressure as well? That's the key thing with Norwich.
Yeah, and I think that is the key thing. I suppose my thoughts on Norwich in general are, I worried that they've got this spliced together team now of. I saw a really interesting interview with Forup, and it was last season. I think it was on the Second Tier podcast, maybe, I can't remember, but it was a really interesting one. And in essence, what the crux of what he came to on it was that he was sold that he was going to be a project of a number of years, brought in these players that were quite young, adapting them to a system, training them up in the way that they want, and they've gone from what I would describe as a bit more of an attacking, fluid style of football under Forup to a very defensive, rigid style of football with Manning. And the problem, I think, is, one, you've got certain players who are signed for a certain manager, a certain system, and it's such a drastic change in what they're doing. The other one is, if you're going to play defensive football, be good at bloody defending, because when you're playing defensive ugly football and you're not getting the results, the problem is the fans will only accept that kind of football if it brings the results. And I